Hey guys, welcome to the next exciting episode of Mike's Hydro Garden. I just came up with that name, trying it out, see how it works. Anyways, if you remember yesterday, we kind of talked through kind of the buckets. These are Dutch buckets, and the how the water supply works, how the drain supply works, what happens inside here. That one's not a real good example, but we'll talk about that maybe if we have time. Let's look at a cleaner one maybe. Over here. Yeah, that's better. If you look real close, you can actually see the pump at the bottom. That's a good sign. Anyways, so today I thought I'd talk about plants a little bit. As you can see, we are fully stocked. That's kind of one of the best parts is it is just so fast to put plants in. If you have someone to help you, you can really get through things quickly because it takes almost nothing to put them in. Basically, you just put your hand in that perlite, two hands, spread it apart, make a hole, jam the plant in there, and pull it out. A couple things you need to know though. First off, let's look at a tomato here. This is your average tomato plant. I actually bought all my plants this year because I wasn't going to do a garden, but I ended up doing it after all. And tomatoes are kind of cool because you can plant them almost as deeply as you want to. That especially the babies, you actually want to plant them up to like here if it was a smaller plant, because that'll give more support to the plant when it's in there so it doesn't get blown over and stuff. But on top of it, you can see, let's see if I can get really close. You can see all the little fuzz on there. Those are all kind of tiny little roots. And if you plant that plant deeper, sorry, I got some stuff on my knee. If you plant that tomato plant deeper, it's actually going to have more roots in it, and they're going to grow out towards the surface, and you'll do really well. On the other hand, this year, here's another quick tip. If you're buying plants, or even if you are making your own labels, as you put the plant in, grab the label like that. You can see this is aroma, and I stashed that right in the box. So it's really easy to figure out after the fact what all the plants are before the fruit starts showing up. But on this one, I decided to do something kind of fun, and I put some, these are, let's see, you could think, oh, that could have been a pepper, but no, it has a Black Beauty eggplant. And I kind of alternated them. See, I did tomato, eggplant, tomato, eggplant, tomato, eggplant. And then as we go down here, I have tomato. Let's see, these are different tomatoes. These are super sweet 100s. It's kind of the downside of buying plants from a big box store or Walmart or something like that, is you're kind of limited as to what type of plants you can get. In previous years, I would buy all my seeds online, get some really exotic stuff. It's really fun, and you can get yellow tomatoes, brown tomatoes, purple tomatoes. A couple things I can say about tomatoes. I kind of go with the cherries and kind of a real meaty, smaller tomato, like a grape tomato, like these Romas over here. Let's see if they have a good picture. Romas are a little bigger, but they're still only about, probably like that. Nice, kind of a 2-bite tomato, and they're really meaty. But what I like about them, these smaller tomatoes, is that if a bird or something comes in here, pokes a hole in the side of it, then the flies come, you only lose a small tomato. Where if you have a big, beautiful plant growing up here, maybe it's 4 or 5 feet tall, and this tomato has been growing for a month and a half, and it's really starting to look good, and it's just starting to redden up, and a bird comes and pokes a hole in it, you've just lost all of that fruit. Pretty much, may as well just take it and throw it away, because it's going to get nasty in about a day or two. So I kind of prefer the smaller tomatoes, and I don't know, that's just a personal preference though. Let's see, I also have peppers here, and these are just yellow banana peppers. They look remarkably like this. It's a sweet banana hybrid pepper. kind of like to go with hybrids. I'm not a seeds saver. So when you get a hybrid, some of the things you get are usually better disease prevention. For example, with tomatoes, like these Romas, got to be really careful because they will suffer from a blossom end rot in the heat of summer. And what that means is on the tomato itself, you have the part that connects to the vine. That's the vine end, and the blossom end is the other side where the blossom would be. Well, certain tomatoes suffer from blossom end rot, and you'll get a big black hole on the end of that tomato. It's really unsightly. You could cut it off, but it just makes ugly fruit. So you can actually buy plants that are not as susceptible to BER, that's blossom end rot. Likewise, let's see, I just put in some cucumbers over here. Let's see what these are. Here we have a burpless hybrid cucumber. Nice thing about a burpless cucumber is it doesn't make as much, I think it's curcumin, which is the bitter flavor in a cucumber. So as a result, you can grow them a little bit bigger and they won't have that bitter taste to them that really starts to come out in the heat of summer. Another thing is with cucumbers, you have to worry about mildew on the leaves, and there are some cucumber plants that are very susceptible, like lemon cucumbers. I love a lemon cucumber because it's a little bit smaller than a baseball. It's like the perfect size for eating on the way to work, but they are super susceptible to powdery mildew. And what happens is the whole top of the leaf gets this white powdery mildew on it that dries out the leaf and it starts to crack. And it's really hard to keep looking good and hard to keep producing for any amount of time. So for that, you want to try and get a hybrid that is powdery mildew resistant. So just another little pointer here. Let's see. We have some more. Oh, remember yesterday I talked about running 3 different lines at 1, 2, 3 so that we can have a couple of different kinds of mixes of nutrients. Well, this year I've decided to move the tomatoes to the front of the pack so that they get a little bit better early sun, and the cucumbers tend to do really well. They have huge leaves. They rarely have a sun problem. So I've always had the tomatoes at the back in the past. So this time we're moving them to the front. We're going to see how it goes. Part of hydroponics is a little bit of experimentation. So in this first reservoir, hydroponic reservoir, we're going to have a tomato mix, which is going to be really good for the tomatoes and the peppers because they're both from the nightshade family. By the way, don't eat tomato leaves. They're poisonous. Anyways, over here is going to be a cucumber mix because I have all kinds of cucumbers in here. And just kind of for sake of experimentation, I have, here I have that, I can tell just by looking at it, that is a Black Beauty eggplant, just like we have over here. And that is a banana pepper, just like we have back over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see which mix works better. I know that the tomatoes are going to do their best in the tomato mix, but as far as the eggplant and the peppers go, I don't know. So this will be kind of an interesting test. All the pumps run the exact same amount of time, so it should be kind of interesting to see how they do. So let's see, we're going to go down here. Oh, we're doing some squash for the first time. What's this? These guys are looking really good. We're doing some zucchini, which I've never seen done in a bucket like this before. If you haven't seen zucchinis grow before, they have a really big central stalk and then huge leaves that come off of it. So my goal is to have a string that goes from here straight up to the suspension overhead. That's that big deep one, big with the one there. And I'm going to try and grow zucchinis vertically and have them just kind of hang off it. And I have no idea. It's going to be a hot mess, I think. But I thought I'd give it a shot. Let's see, what do we have here? I think these are all zucchinis. They come 6 to a package, so I only have 1 tag for those. Go down here a little bit more, and we have some snap peas, which I thought I would give a shot. It seems really silly to grow them in here because snap peas will grow in just about anything, because beans and peas make their own nitrogen, which is kind of a really cool thing. You know that a lot of farmers, they do corn one year, and then the next year they do soybeans in their fields. That's because soybeans will actually make all kinds of nitrogen that replenishes the soil, and then you come back and grow your corn the next year, and you can kind of cycle them like that. That's why they're doing that. So here we have a couple. This one just has 2 plants in it. Thought I'd see how that goes. This one has 2. One of these has 3 in it. And then over here we have, let's see, those aren't green peas. We'll put that over here. Just kind of move things around a little bit so that I could have room for a cantaloupe. We're doing a Super 45 hybrid. Again, this is one of those things I've never done in a hydroponic box before. But it's still a vine. It's still kind of from the curcubit family, I think. They grow similar to a cucumber. So my hope is to be able to have those cucumber plants. Again, they're going to climb up a string they'll be connected to, and then I'll have to come up with some kind of creative way, like some sort of a net or something that I can use that's tied to that string to support that heavy melon so it doesn't just break things. So anyways, I'm going to try 4 of those, just kind of see how it goes. But I thought I'd give you a few tips today about plants. Usually I grow my own plants, but this year, because I'm so late, I went for burpee plants, which you can get at Lowe's and Home Depot and just all over the place. Or Bonnie plants, or not burpee, Bonnie plants. Burpee is the seed manufacturer. Anyways, here's a little trick for you. I try and all of the plastics that I get, I save. Like these are perfect for growing your own stuff down the road. You can pack them full of stuff. If you have a little tray to sit them in, you can grow like the pros. Same with these. These will work really well, especially if you have something that you can set this whole carrier into, like a big plastic. What works really good, sometimes you've seen those 2-piece. There's usually like a black bottom and a clear top for germinating seeds. You can use either of those to set this big thing into. They're remarkably just the right size. So I just set that into that lid, and that keeps things all nice and watered, because on a hot summer day like this, even those little plants can drink a lot. In fact, I had the plants, my first batch of cucumbers, very wet, and I left them sitting out in the sun, and within about 4 hours, they really got beat up pretty bad. That one's looking kind of tough as well. I think there's one down here that I just gave up on, because if your plants look like that, may as well not even plant them, because they're not going to grow. So I lost a couple in the process. This one's kind of a hot mess. That's a kind of a combination of three different pots full of plants. But I thought, really all I need out of these is one plant. You look at this one, looking really healthy here. This is actually probably 20 different plants. And out of all that, I just need one live one in order to string it up and have it. Eventually these cucumber plants will be about 8 feet tall. They'll climb up a string, and I'll have to cut them off at the top way up there. That's about 8 feet. And then the average plant like that will generate somewhere between 15 and 25 about foot long, or 8 to a foot long cucumbers. So that's what I have going on there. Let's see, there was something else. We talked earlier about tomatoes, how they like to be planted deep into the soil to get more soil, I guess, or in this case perlite around that stem. A lot of the curcubits, they are exactly the opposite. And I'm not sure about peppers, but certainly cucumbers, they really don't like to be transplanted. That's probably why they do so many like this, in the hopes that you might get a couple good ones to grow out of it. but you really don't want to have too much. If you look here, the dirt is like just below the surface, so you really don't want to bury those cucumber plants down too deep or they'll just die, and it's a waste of a couple bucks. Let's see what else. Oh, a tip about buying these Bonnie plants. A couple times a year, they will have deals at Home Depot where there will be 4 plants for $10, as opposed to, I think these are like $3.87 a piece. So you can really save a bunch of money. What, $1.50, something like that, almost $2. It's a half price on plants. And when you're, filling something like this, I think all told, this is probably $110 worth of plants, maybe even a little bit more than that. Where if I grew these all from seed, I'd be looking at a cost of about $30, maybe a little bit more. But this is guaranteed. I put these in the ground, and that tomato plant right there is gonna generate probably 60 little cherry tomatoes. Pepper plants, you'll have more peppers than you know what to do with. Each one of those little pepper plants will come back in July, and it will be probably 3 feet tall, and there'll be 40 peppers on it, and it'll grow all season long, and they are really, really hardy. It ends up making a really woody stem, almost stalk to it. So it's getting a little dark out, so I think I'm going to call it quits for tonight. Anyways, I need a good sign-off thing. So until next time, have a good evening. Thanks.